To unpack this a bit more further for us, so we're now joined by Dr. Angelique Coetzee from the South African Medical Association, Gauteng North Council member, and she joins us via our video link. Dr. Angelique, thank you so much for joining us this evening here at SABC News. I mean, looking at that insert, a number of parents and South Africans must be very concerned about, the use of vapes and Hubbly Bubbly. As the South African Medical Association, what is your take on the use of these vapes and Hubbly Bubbly?
Good evening, and thank you for asking our opinion. I cannot speak on behalf of the board of SAMA, but what I can tell you is that smoking hookah pipes are definitely more dangerous than smoking cigarettes. If you look at the time that one would spend with one hookah pipe, it's around about an hour, and the estimated data around that is in an hour you would smoke at least, or the hookah smoking is equals at least 200 puffs versus 20 puffs if you'd smoke one cigarette. You actually need to smoke 100 cigarettes to get 200 puffs, or the same amount as puffs in with smoking of a hookah. I also need to make you aware that the smoke inhaled during a or a hookah session is 90 liters versus 500 to 60 milliliters when smoking cigarettes between 5 to 7 minutes. So, people think the water, as some of the other doctors said, is going to take out the toxins. No, you're actually getting twice the amount of toxins. So if you are a young teenager and you look at these, like the inserts that you're seeing there, it looks so cool, it's beautifully packaged. And if you look at the people sitting around, it looks cool. You want to smoke. And, it seems as if you're not inhaling it, but it's so wrong. It's so wrong what you are doing there, because I need to make you aware of that charcoal that you use to heat the tobacco product. That produces a very high level of carbon monoxide and heavy metals and other cancer-causing chemicals. It's the same than I want to commit suicide, and I put the exhaust into my car, let the car just run, and that carbon monoxide will then kill me in the end of the day. So here you are actually using that same type of carbon monoxide to cause damage to your health. There is nothing that I can say that it's good on smoking a hookah pipe. Let alone if you are pregnant. It's even just as worse on the unborn baby than for someone who's not smoking. There's, you can't do that to your child, to the unborn child as well. Yeah,
and I must say that, when you speak to those who smoke these tobacco products, especially when you speak to those who smoke Hubbly, and, they'll make this excuse and say, oh, well, there's water inside. It's much more safer than a cigarette. Those who vape would tell you that, well, you smoke lesser cigarettes if you are, smoking a vape. What has created this impression that it's much more safer to smoke these tobacco products as opposed to cigarettes?
Well, it's definitely not science. It's pseudoscience. It's coming from around people who would like to rectify, or to like to say, this is why I'm using it. It's much better. Look, I'm not even, look, I'm blowing the smoke out. I'm not even inhaling it. They don't have any clue. I listen also to the insert that you had where some of the experts says, we need to look more deeply into the damage, the health damage. I'm not sure why you want to look in more deeply, because the data is out there. It's clear, it speaks for itself. I'm not even mentioning if you share your pipe with someone, you can get TB from that, and it's proven. It's not I'm not saying this just to scare you. This is fact. So you have to listen. You can get TB, you can get hepatitis, you can get herpes. Remember, herpes is for life. If you've got it for life. You can get oral cancer of the carcinogens that is in the smoke. You can get bladder cancer, you can get lung cancer. We know there's a direct link between smoking and cardiovascular and stroke diseases that we see out there. So I don't know how much more data you would like to get to make a decision on something that's actually very easy and simple. Also remember that when the Act was passed in the early 90s and the reversed bill that is now in front of the Parliament, during that time, there was no vaping. Vaping and all these other novel products came later. Hookah pipe, yes, it's already there for many years, but it was not something that was popular in South Africa. All of a sudden, it's very popular in South Africa. As we have said, they are targeting, the industries are targeting them. There's a saying that catch them when they're young, because we all know that according to the data and some of the stats, that most of the children around about the age of 17 starts to smoke nicotine, some even younger. There's a lot of you listening here that would know that some of you were 14, 12, 13 years when you start smoking. There's no excuse. I cannot say you use this safely and you will be fine. There's nothing like that.
Yeah. And, when there are calls for it to be regulated, what exactly needs to be regulated in South Africa when it comes to these products, be it Hubbly Bubbly, be it, these vapes which are being used? I mean, it was quite scary for you earlier on to even detail what you actually are inhaling when you're smoking these tobacco products.
So so the common thing is anything that you need to burn, to inhale, like a cigarette, like vaping, like a hookah pipe, doesn't matter, like drugs, opium, anything that you want to heat, to inhale, is going to cause, to have a toxin, that is going to release some toxins. It's going to affect your health-wise. So there's nothing that there's nothing that I can say to make this easy and to say, oh no, you can smoke a little bit. I cannot do that because the data is out there. We need to also start to educate the youth, because again, the youth is the target group. So if you can target the youth and tell them and they create more awareness out there of what is happening, so that when your mother walks into your room and she sees this Hubbly, that she also understands this is not cool. It's really not cool to have. So there must be awareness. There must be. We know that nicotine should not be sold under the age of 18. That's currently in the law in South Africa. We know that this is not happening. So if you really want to bring in the regulations around this, you must also make sure that you can enforce those regulations, that is enforceable. You must also make sure that if you want to take people off, because nicotine is highly, highly addictive. So you have to have some measurements in place to help them to get rid of the addiction. So you cannot just, what happened during COVID, they just all of a sudden decided, we're not going to sell cigarettes anymore. So, well, it's a noble idea, but it's not practical, because if you're hooked, you're hooked. And there should be enough supportive measures in place to help these people. So it's not only a matter of there must be a regulation or a law coming into play. You also need to give the support. You also need to do, as I've said, awareness campaigns so that people understand this. And all those nice products that you see there on your screen, it should be one color. It should be nothing that it should actually look awful. All these different nice shapes and colors, people doesn't understand, and they think, oh, it's cool. Because that's what young people think. It's cool.
All right, Dr. Angelique, thank you so much for that insight into this issue in our country. Of course, that is Dr. Angelique Coetzee, South African Medical Association, Gauteng North Council member.